Remember when a fast food burger actually felt like a treat? When the beef tasted like beef and the bun wasn't soggy before you took your second bite. We've all seen the quality slide downhill while the prices just keep climbing. You spend your hard-earned money and get something disappointing. It feels like the brands we grew up with, the names we've trusted for decades, are losing their way. The question is, in today's world, who is still getting it right? Where is it still worth spending your time and your money? And more importantly, who has fallen so far you wouldn't even recognize them anymore? Today, we're settling it. We've dug through what real people are saying to rank 12 of America's most iconic fast food burger joints, from the absolute worst to the very best. Will your old favorite be crowned the king? Or is it languishing at the bottom of the list? Stick with us to find out. Let's start from the bottom and work our way up. Coming in at number 12, McDonald's. You might be shocked, but hear us out. McDonald's used to be the gold standard, but today, it's a shadow of its former self. The golden arches were once a symbol of fast food perfection. Crispy fries, juicy burgers, and that unmistakable taste that made a favorite for millions. But somewhere along the line, the magic wore off. Their tiny, greasy patties and slapdash assembly are a far cry from the golden arches we once knew. Let's talk about the burger itself. Once a solid choice for a quick meal, McDonald's burgers have shrunk over time, literally. The beef patties seem to get smaller with each passing year, and instead of that satisfying meaty bite, you're left with something that feels more like a snack than a real meal. And the quality? It's not exactly what you'd expect from a brand that once had the entire world eating out of its hands. The beef is often greasy, made from frozen meat, and slapped together with no care or consistency. One bite and you'll know something's off. And don't even get us started on the buns. The one sturdy burger bun has become soggy and sad before you even finish your first bite. It's almost as if McDonald's has forgotten that the bun is just as important as the patty. It's not holding up the burger. It's barely holding up at all. As for the cheese, well, that's a whole other disappointment. Cold and unmelted, it just lays there like an afterthought. Now, here's where things get really wild. Fans, desperate to salvage something from their McDonald's experience, have taken matters into their own hands. Enter the McGangbang. Yes, you read that right. It's a fan-created monstrosity involving a McChicken sandwich stuffed into a double cheeseburger. People have even gone so far as to turn leftover McChick buns into fry sandwiches. If you have to get creative just to make the burger work, that says it all. When customers are out here building their own burgers just to make them edible, it's clear McDonald's has lost the plot. So why is McDonald's sitting at the very bottom of this list? It's simple. They've rested too long on their legacy. The brand that once stood for consistent, quality fast food is now an afterthought. The glory days are long gone, and unless McDonald's does something drastic to fix their burgers, this fall from grace will only continue. It's disappointing, really, because McDonald's could easily reclaim its spot at the top if they remembered what made them great in the first place. But for now, they're firmly planted at number 12, and there's no getting around that. Next up, Burger King at number 11. Burger King isn't all bad, but here's the problem. It's completely unpredictable. One visit, you're enjoying a perfectly assembled Whopper with that smoky, flame-broiled flavor that hits just right. The next, you're dealing with a soggy bun, wilted lettuce, and a patty that tastes like it's been sitting under a heat lamp for hours. Fans call it mid. And honestly, they're not wrong. The inconsistency drives people crazy, and that's exactly why Burger King lands so low on this list. Let's be real, the Whopper should be an untouchable classic. On paper, it's everything you'd want in a fast food burger: a flame-grilled beef patty, fresh toppings, the sesame seed bun, and that signature charred flavor that sets it apart from the competition. When it's done right, it's one of the best burgers in the fast food game. But here's the kicker. You never know if you're going to get the Whopper you see in the commercials, or one that looks like it fell apart in the bag before it even reached your hands. That's the Burger King experience, a true coin toss. And it doesn't stop there. The fries? Hit or miss. Sometimes they're crispy and golden, other times limp and lifeless. The chicken sandwiches? Decent in one location, a total mess in another. Even their limited time specials, which are supposed to bring excitement to the menu, suffer from the same problem: no consistency. It's like rolling the dice every time you walk into a Burger King. That's not exactly the kind of reliability you want from your go-to-burger joint. What makes it worse is the presentation. Burger King has this reputation for serving up burgers that look nothing like the glossy photos on the menu boards. Instead of a stacked, mouth-watering sandwich, you often end up with something that looks like it was assembled in the dark: squish bun, toppings sliding out, and cheese that hasn't even bothered to melt. It's the kind of meal that makes you wonder if anyone back there actually cares about what they're serving. Now, let's give Burger King some credit. When they're firing on all cylinders, that flame broil flavor is unmatched. It's the one thing that keeps diehard fans coming back. There's something about that charred edge on the beef that McDonald's and Wendy's just can't replicate. But is that enough to make up for the roller coaster quality? Not really. People want consistency, and Burger King just can't seem to deliver it. So where does that leave us? At number 11, stuck in fast food limbo. Burger King has the potential to climb higher, much higher, if they could just figure out how to make every Whopper as good as the last. Until then, they'll remain the king of inconsistency, ruling over a kingdom where every meal is a gamble. Wendy's lands at number 10. It's been decades since the famous "Where's the Beef" campaign, but honestly, the brand seems to be living off past glory. Back in the day, Wendy's was a clever, confident underdog that dared to challenge the giants of the fast food industry. They weren't afraid to take shots at McDonald's or Burger King, and people loved them for it. But times have changed, and Wendy's just doesn't hit the same anymore. Ever since Dave Thomas, the founder and the heart of the brand, passed away, something has been missing. Now, don't get it twisted, the fresh, never-frozen beef is still there. It's their claim to fame, and the one thing they can always brag about. But here's the thing, just because it's fresh doesn't mean it's flawless. Fans have noticed the quality slipping. Burgers that used to feel hearty and well-constructed now often come out looking like a complete mess. Toppings slide everywhere. Lettuce wilts into nothing in the buns. Forget about it. They're thin. They fall apart halfway through, and they make the whole sandwich look sloppy. A burger can't just taste good. It has to hold up, and Wendy's has been dropping the ball on that front. Another thing that drags Wendy's down is the inconsistency across locations. Some spots serve up a solid Dave single that actually reminds you why the brand once had a strong reputation. But go to another, and you'll get something that looks like it was put together in a rush, with no care for presentation or balance. For a chain that made its name by promising better beef, that lack of attention is a real problem. And let's not ignore the buns. The buns are supposed to be the foundation of the burger, but Wendy's buns are notorious for being flimsy, soggy, and completely unable to handle the toppings. It's like trying to eat a burger with bread that disintegrates in your hands. People complain about it all the time online, and it's one of the reasons Wendy's just doesn't feel like a serious contender anymore. The sad part is, Wendy's could be so much better. They've got the branding, the legacy, and even the innovation. Remember when they introduced the pretzel bacon pub burger or the Baconator? Those were cultural moments. But instead of leaning into that creativity and fixing the basics, they've been coasting on their name, hoping nostalgia will carry them through. Spoiler alert, it won't. So here we are, with Wendy stuck at number 10. Not the worst by any means, but nowhere near the powerhouse it once was. The fresh beef tagline can only get them so far, unless they fix the sloppy execution and rebuild that old magic. Wendy's will keep sliding down the ranks. The truth is, Dave Thomas built a brand with heart. Without him, it feels like that heart just isn't beating the same way anymore. At number 9, we have White Castle. Iconic for its steamed sliders, White Castle isn't exactly known for gourmet burgers, and honestly, that's part of its strange charm. You don't go to White Castle expecting a perfectly stacked, photo-ready sandwich. You go there for nostalgia, the late-night cravings, or maybe even the novelty of ordering a Crave case of 30 tiny burgers just because you can. It's an experience, sure, but let's be real, it's not exactly one you'll rave about the next morning. Those little sliders are one of the most polarizing foods in fast food history. On one hand, they're small, bite-sized, and undeniably unique. On the other, the soggy buns and overwhelming onion flavor turn a lot of people off. There's no middle ground. You either love White Castle for what it is, or you wonder why anyone would willingly eat a burger that looks like it's been steamed in a sauna. And speaking of those buns, let's talk about them. Steamed bread is supposed to create that soft, pillowy texture, but more often than not, it just comes across as damp and squishy. Paired with the ultra-thin patties and a tidal wave of onions, you end up with a burger that feels more like a mushy snack than a satisfying meal. People who grew up on White Castle will swear it's an acquired taste, but for newcomers, it can feel like a bad dare. Then there's the elephant in the room, the after effects. White Castle has a reputation. Let's just say those sliders don't always sit well after a late-night binge. For some, that's part of the cult appeal, like a badge of honor for surviving a trip to the castle. For others, it's the main reason they avoid it altogether. But here's where White Castle does deserve some credit. Without them, the concept of the fast food burger chain might not even exist. They were the pioneers, the ones who started it all, way back in 1921. That square, no-frills slider is a piece of American food history, and even if the execution isn't exactly gourmet, the legacy is undeniable. Still, legacy only goes so far. In today's world of double-stacked craft-style burgers with brioche buns and fancy toppings, White Castle feels more like a novelty act than a serious competitor. It's fun, it's nostalgic, and it's uniquely White Castle. But at the end of the day, those soggy little sliders can't compete with the heavyweights higher up this list. Freddy's frozen custard and steak burgers takes the number 8 spot. Compared to the giant of fast food, Freddy's is still a rookie. Founded in 2002, it doesn't have the decades-long legacy of McDonald's or White Castle, but what it does have is a cult-like following that swears by its signature style, the smash burger. Those ultra-thin patties with crispy, lacy edges are Freddy's claim to fame, and they're also the reason people can't stop arguing about it. For some burger lovers, this style is pure perfection. The patties are smashed onto a scorching hot griddle, creating a caramelized crust that packs in way more flavor than your average fast food patty. Every bite gives you that crunchy, savory edge that regular burgers can't compete with. Pair that with Freddy's choice of toppings, simple, classic, and not overloaded, and you've got something that feels thoughtfully crafted compared to the slapdash construction you get elsewhere. But here's the flip side. Not everyone's on board. The patties are intentionally thin, and that leaves a lot of people underwhelmed. If you're expecting a thick, juicy burger you can sink your teeth into, Freddy's might feel like a disappointment. Critics call it skimpy, and some even claim it's all edge, no substance. The smash burger debate is real. Love it or hate it, there's no in-between. Still, Freddy's manages to hold its own against much bigger players. Part of its success is consistency. Unlike Burger King or Wendy's, where you never know what you'll get, Freddy's usually delivers a reliable product across locations. And when you factor in their frozen custard, a silky, rich dessert that's often just as popular as the burgers, you can see why Freddy's has been climbing the ladder in recent years. It's not just about the burger, it's the whole experience. That's not to say Freddy's is untouchable. It's still a regional chain in many ways, with nowhere near the reach of McDonald's or Five Guys. And while their smash burgers have earned respect, they don't quite have the universal appeal needed to crack the top 5. It's good, sometimes even great, but not iconic enough to dominate the competition. So, Freddy's earns its spot at number 8. A newer face, a bold style, and a passionate fan base keeping the conversation. But it hasn't crossed over into must-try for everyone territory just yet. The debate over its crispy, thin patties isn't ending anytime soon, and maybe that's the point. Could the next chain do better? Let's find out. At number 7, we got Dairy Queen. And yeah, we know what you're probably thinking. Wait a second, isn't this an ice cream place? That's exactly why DQ landing this high on the list might surprise some people. Known for blizzards, dipped cones, and soft serve that doesn't budge even when flipped upside down, Dairy Queen has quietly carved out a lane in the burger world that most folks don't see coming. But those who've tried it know the truth. DQ's burgers are surprisingly solid. The standout here has to be the flamethrower stack burger. It's not just a clever name. This thing packs some real heat. Stacked high with beef patties, cheese, jalapenos, and a tangy, fiery orange sauce that fans rave about. It's unlike anything you'd expect from a place where most people go for dessert. That sauce alone has developed a sort of cult following, with some swearing it's a secret recipe that gives Dairy Queen's burgers an edge over more traditional fast food joints. But here's the thing, nobody really talks about it. Even if you love DQ burgers, you're probably not bragging about it to your friends. There's almost an embarrassment factor at play. Admitting you go to Dairy Queen for the burgers feels like confessing you listen to a band nobody's heard of. It's not something people bring up at the dinner table. And yet, the moment you take that first bite of a flamethrower, all of a sudden, you don't care who's judging. Of course, like so many chains, DQ has one big weakness: inconsistency. Because most people view Dairy Queen as an ice cream spot first, the food quality tend to vary wildly from one location to another. At the good ones, you're blown away by how flavorful and well-built the burgers are. At the not-so-great ones, let's just say you probably wish you had just stuck with a blizzard. Still, even with that inconsistency, Dairy Queen earns its place in the top 10 because of that hidden gem factor. When a burger from a place that's supposed to be about soft serve manages to impress, it feels like a discovery, almost like you've uncovered a secret menu that only insiders know about. And that thrill of surprise is part of the appeal. So yes, Dairy Queen makes a cut, not because it's perfect, but because it defies expectations in the best way possible. So, if an ice cream chain can crack the top 10, who else managed to surprise us? Stick around, because the next contender takes things to another level. Jack in the Box takes the number 6 spot. If you've ever been out late at night, hungry, maybe a little reckless, chances are you found yourself pulling into a Jack in the Box drive-thru. This chain has built a reputation as the ultimate late-night munchies king, thanks to its sprawling menu that seems designed for people who can't make up their minds. Tacos, egg rolls, curly fries, milkshakes, Jack's got it all. But hidden in that chaos is something most people don't immediately think of. One of the most underrated burgers in fast food. Enter the Bacon Ultimate Cheeseburger. This thing is a monster. 2 juicy beef patties, layers of gooey melted cheese, strips of bacon, and just the right amount of sauce to tie it all together. It's heavy, it's greasy, and it's ridiculously satisfying. Exactly what you want when you're craving a real burger experience. Fans argue that, pound for pound, it holds up against some of the bigger names higher on this list. The problem is, hardly anyone actually associates Jack in the Box with burgers. The tacos have become their cult item, grabbing all the spotlight, while the Bacon Ultimate Cheeseburger sits quietly in the background, waiting for someone to give it the credit it deserves. That's the strange part about Jack in the Box. It's a place where people go for everything but burgers, and yet the burger is often the best thing on the menu. There's something almost ironic about a chain that makes tacos out of a drive-thru window being the home of one of the most balanced fast food burgers around. The flavor combination just works. Smoky bacon, melty cheese, and beef patties that actually feel substantial instead of flat and lifeless. Of course, no chain is without flaws. Jack in the Box is unpredictable. Some locations nail the formula, delivering a burger that's hot, juicy, and perfectly stacked. Others, not so much. There are stories of soggy buns, cold cheese, and patties that taste like they've been sitting around too long. It's a gamble every time you order, but when it hits, it really hits. So, while Jack in the Box may never shake its reputation as the king of late-night munchies, those who tried the Bacon Ultimate Cheeseburger know the truth. There's a hidden gem on that menu. It might not have the hype of Shake Shack or the cult devotion of In-N-Out, but when you're in the mood for something indulgent, it delivers in a way few expect. Next, Whataburger holds the 5th spot. If you're from Texas, you already know why it's here, and if you're not, chances are you've at least heard the legends. Whataburger isn't just a fast food chain in the South. It's practically a religion. People will drive hours just to get their hands on one of these burgers, and that kind of loyalty doesn't come out of nowhere. The chain has earned its reputation with something many others struggle to deliver: consistency. Walk into almost any Whataburger, and you know what you're getting. The patties are thick, the buns are soft but sturdy, and the toppings are always fresh. Their burgers might not have the same wow factor as some trendy gourmet spots, but that's not the point. Whataburger thrives on being reliably good. Big portions, customizable orders, and a flavor that feels just as comforting at 2 a.m. as it does in the middle of the day. For fans, it's not just food, it's a ritual. And then there's the legend of the A1 thick and hearty burger. If you've ever tried it, you know why people still talk about it years later. This burger was a flavor bomb, smoky, savory, and dripping with that tangy A1 sauce that tied the whole thing together. When Whataburger pulled it from the menu, it caused an uproar. Even today, longtime fans get misty-eyed just mentioning it, calling it the pinnacle of fast food burgers. The fact that a discontinued item can still stir up this much conversation says everything about how deep the love runs for this chain. Another thing that sets Whataburger apart is its sheer scale. Literally, these burgers are huge. When you unwrap a Whataburger, it feels like you're getting more than your money's worth, especially compared to the sad little patties at places like McDonald's. And with their make-it-your-way philosophy, you can load it up with jalapenos, grilled peppers, extra cheese, whatever makes your perfect burger. That sense of control, paired with their commitment to size and consistency, keeps people coming back. Of course, Whataburger isn't without critics. Some argue that it never quite reaches the wow level of the top-tier spots, and to outsiders, the hype might feel a little overblown. But if you've ever sat in a Whataburger at midnight, surrounded by locals biting into a hot, perfectly balanced burger, you start to understand why this chain inspires such devotion. Whataburger may have earned its spot, but who's next? Culver's takes a fourth spot, and honestly, if you've ever bitten into one of their famous Butterburgers, you already know why. This isn't just another fast food burger. It's an experience. The name might sound like a gimmick at first, but once you taste that buttery, toasted bun paired with fresh, never-frozen beef, it all clicks. Culver's has found a way to make fast food feel indulgent without being over the top, and that's why so many people swear by it. What makes Culver's stand out is its consistency. Whether you're grabbing a quick lunch on the road or sitting down for dinner, you can count on the burger tasting the same every time, juicy, flavorful, and built with care. That level of reliability isn't easy to find in the fast food world, and it's why Culver's has developed such a loyal following. People who try it once often find themselves coming back again and again, turning first-timers into die-hard regulars. Another thing worth mentioning, Culver's isn't just about the burgers. Their cheese curds have become legendary, almost as popular as the Butterburgers themselves. Perfectly golden and squeaky in all the right ways, they're the kind of side that makes you forget about fries altogether. Pair them with a Butterburger, and you've got a Midwest classic meal that fans say is tough to beat. It's that attention to both the main dish and the extras that elevates Culver's above so many competitors. But what's especially impressive about Culver's is that it doesn't rely on flashy marketing or gimmicks to get attention. There's no over-the-top mascot, no bizarre ad campaigns trying to go viral. Instead, it lets the food do the talking. In a world where many chains lean heavily on branding, Culver's has quietly built its reputation on substance. People might not be shouting about it from the rooftops, but anyone who's tried it knows the truth. Culver's is seriously good. Of course, some critics will point out that it's not as widely available as giants like McDonald's or Burger King, which limits its reach. But in a way, that scarcity almost adds to its charm. When you find a Culver's, it feels like discovering a little gem tucked into the Midwest. And once you've had a taste, it's hard not to crave it again. Culver's is holding strong, but who made it to the top 3? In-N-Out comes in at number 3, and honestly, could it be anywhere else? This chain has built a reputation that stretches far beyond the West Coast, becoming a cultural icon as much as a burger joint. The menu is famously simple: burgers, fries, and shakes, but within that simplicity lies its power. Every burger is made to order. The lettuce is crisp, the tomatoes are fresh, and the beef patties are grilled to perfection. There's no need for gimmicks here. In-N-Out has proven that sometimes less really is more. And then there's the animal-style burger, the not-so-secret menu item that took the internet by storm and became a rite of passage for first-time visitors. With its grilled onions, extra sauce, and mustard-cooked beef patty, Animal Style transformed In-N-Out from a regional chain into a national obsession. Even people who've never stepped foot in California know about it. And that kind of reputation doesn't come easy. Of course, part of In-N-Out's allure is its cult following. Fans will drive hours just to get their fix, proudly wearing merch, snapping photos of the iconic palm tree logo, and defending the chain with almost religious fervor. It's more than just food, it's an experience, and that level of loyalty is something most fast food brands can only dream about. When people talk about California, they mention Hollywood, beaches, and In-N-Out. It's that ingrained in the culture. But with all that hype comes criticism. Some argue that In-N-Out is overrated, claiming the fries are lackluster or that the burger doesn't live up to the endless praise. And while it's true that not everyone is blown away, even the harshest critics usually admit that it's consistently good. You know what you're getting every single time, and in fast food, that's not something to take for granted. Another interesting point, In-N-Out has resisted the urge to expand nationwide. Unlike other chains chasing global domination, In-N-Out keeps its growth carefully controlled, focusing on quality rather than quantity. It's frustrating for fans in other states, but it's also what allows the chain to maintain such high standards. In-N-Out isn't trying to be everywhere. It's trying to be excellent where it is. So yes, it's iconic. Yes, it's consistent. And yes, it's a little bit overrated. But when a burger joint can inspire that much passion and that many road trips, it deserves its place near the top. In-N-Out is a legend, but believe it or not, 2 spots still remain. Who could possibly top this West Coast icon? Shake Shack takes the number 2 spot. And for some people, this might feel like an upset. After all, it hasn't been around nearly as long as the giants of the fast food world. But in less than 2 decades, Shake Shack has transformed from a single hot dog cart in New York City into a nationwide sensation. And it's all thanks to the burger. The Shack burger isn't just good, it's exceptional, juicy, flavorful, and made with 100% Angus beef that's always fresh, never frozen. It's the kind of burger that makes you stop mid-bite and think, wow, this is fast food? But Shake Shack's rise isn't just about quality ingredients. It's about the whole experience. Walk into a Shake Shack, and you immediately feel the difference. The design feels modern, the atmosphere feels welcoming, and the food presentation makes it seem closer to a sit-down restaurant than a grab-and-go chain. It's fast food that feels elevated, like it's giving you a little more respect as a customer. And then there are the crinkle-cut fries. Crispy, golden, and perfectly salted, they're a sidekick that almost steals the show. Pair them with a Shack burger and one of Shake Shack's unique milkshakes, flavors like black and white or seasonal specials. And suddenly you're not just eating, you're indulging. Critics have raved about how Shake Shack manages to blend consistency with creativity, delivering meals that taste just as good in Los Angeles as they do in New York. Of course, Shake Shack's premium positioning has sparked some debate. Detractors argue it's too expensive for fast food, with prices that edge closer to casual dining. And yes, it's not the cheapest burger on the block, but that's kind of the point. Shake Shack carved out its place by proving that people are willing to pay a little more for quality. In doing so, it created a new category, gourmet fast food. The chain's rapid expansion has only fueled the hype. From airports to international cities, Shake Shack has become a global name while still holding on to its reputation for excellence. And while it may not have the same nostalgic pull as In-N-Out or the same history as McDonald's, it's earned its way into the conversation by setting a new standard for what a burger chain can be. So, Shake Shack is near the top for good reason. It's delicious, stylish, and dependable. But here's the real question. Is it truly the best? Or is there one more burger joint that tops them all? And finally, coming in at number 1, we have Five Guys. You knew this was coming, didn't you? If there's one burger chain that consistently gets people nodding in agreement, it's this one. Five Guys has built its reputation on simplicity done right. Fresh, hand-formed patties cooked to order, buns that hold up under pressure, and toppings. Oh, the toppings. We're not talking about a skimpy slice of lettuce and a lone pickle here. At Five Guys, the toppings list feels endless, and the best part is they're all included in the price. Whether you want your burger loaded with mushrooms, jalapenos, grilled onions, or all the above, you can have it your way. No gimmicks, no shortcuts. But the magic of Five Guys isn't just in customization. It's in the quality. Every burger is stacked thick with juicy, beefy flavor, dripping in the best possible way. You don't walk out of Five Guys feeling like you ate a cardboard patty. You walk out satisfied, maybe even stuffed, but always convinced you got your money's worth. That consistency is why Five Guys has earned a near cult-like following. Fans don't just like Five Guys, they swear by it, defending it in online debates, writing glowing reviews, and making it their go-to-burger fix whenever the craving hits. And then there are the fries. Hand-cut, fried in peanut oil, and served in portions so generous it feels like they're trying to feed an army. Order a small, and suddenly half the bag is overflowing with golden, salty fries. It's excess in the best way possible, and it's become part of the chain's identity. And let's not forget the peanuts, an iconic touch that makes waiting for your order feel like part of the experience. Five Guys has also managed to balance expansion with quality. Unlike some chains that lose their magic the bigger they get, Five Guys has maintained a reputation for delivering the same hearty, satisfying burger, whether you're in New York, London, or Los Angeles. It's a brand that never strayed from its roots. No freezers, no microwaves, no shortcuts. Just burgers and fries done the right way. At the end of the day, Five Guys doesn't need flashy marketing campaigns or secret menus to win people over. The food speaks for itself, and that's why it sits at the very top of this ranking. And that's it. Five Guys claims the crown. You can't beat the classics. And that wraps up our list of the top 12 burger chains. From McDonald's at the bottom to Five Guys at the very top, we've seen the hits, the misses, and the legends that keep people coming back. But now it's your turn. Do you agree with our ranking, or do we completely miss your favorite? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit that follow button so you never miss our next breakdown. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.